We are here at the V Center talking to Alex Bergeron. Alex, talk about your 3-year championship in iRacing.
Yeah, so I started on iRacing a couple of years ago. 2012 was my first time on iRacing, but dirt didn't came out at that time. So I started doing some laps and oval, and then we jumped to the dirt stuff later on, where they came out iRacing with this sanction, and we started getting better and better, and then we started getting to World Championships, and then we won 3 World Championships back to back to back. And then we had the chance to start racing with our own cars. We started doing a few races in ESS, and now we're full-time with SOS now, so that's where we're at. So
Now you run a 360 sprint car.
yes.
Talk about how you got into the 360s. You're basically like Downey driving the iRacing up to a 360. What's the difference be going behind a computer up to a regular car?
Oh, it's definitely different, but it's super close. What you see is the same thing. It's just the feeling is different. Once you get in a real car, the speed is there. But as soon as I got my first World Championships, we bought a real car, a real 360. We did a few Empire Super Sprints races, gained some experience, and now, like I said, we're now full time with SOS Championship in Ontario. So that's where we're at, and we just want to gain experience and try to do better every year, and that's the goal.
Now talk about your season in the 360. What tracks did you run this year before the season came to an end? Now you ran a lot of them, but just talk about your season and the tracks that you ran.
Yeah, so we started the season off at Merrittville. It was good, but it's not the result we wanted. And then we went to Buxton. We had a very good result. We had our first top 10 run. We had, I think, 8th we finished in that first Buxton race. And we did a few other races. We went Brighton, Oshweekend. We finished 10th at Brighton, so it's another top 10 run for us. And then later on, we went back to Buxton. We finished 5th at Buxton, so our first top 5. And then later on in the season, we decently did well, but not how we would have wanted to. Oshweekend was just a strike of bad luck. We had a drive shaft break, so we couldn't make the actual nationals A main. But it's just we have to keep going and just do better.
Now you guys all run bigger tracks, especially going to Brighton Speedway. That's the smallest track. What's the difference of running from Oshwegan to Brighton, from a big size track to a small one?
It's definitely, the sense of speed is different. You got to adjust differently for this type of track. Brighton is really nice. It's just it takes rubber, so you really got to play your game correctly and make sure you're in the right line at the right time. Oshweekend is a really nice facility. Really love this place, so can't wait to get back there.
Now talk about your fall brawl. You made the 9-hour travel to come to run Merrittville. Now explain if that was your first trip down or if it was not. But just talk about how did you like that night of racing at Merrittville?
Merrittville, the last race was not what we expected. We thought we would be a lot better. We did some setup adjustments that we didn't try the rest of the season, and then it was not favorable for us. Sometimes the night goes well, sometimes it doesn't. So we didn't do good. We had a bad heat race. Car, didn't go what I wanted to, and just the rest of the night was just follow the car in front and try to pass. But bottom was the main line I ran, and I couldn't do anything else. So just at least we finished the race. The car was in trailer, and could get back home after 9 hours.
Now, what's your plans for the 2026 season? Are you going to travel more to different tracks, or what's your goal for that season coming in 2026?
So our main goal is to get more experience again. Definitely going to plan to do the entire SOS Championship. That's our main focus. And just, like I said, gain experience, do a lot better results. So we try to aim more for top 5s every night, because we can. It's just we need to have a bit more time to get acclimated to the car and try to build off of that. That's our main primary goal.
Now, are you guys going to travel to like Ransomville when the time comes? Because we all know the SOS and the ESS go over there. Are you going to make the travel to the States, or are you going to stay in Canada and run with the local bullies over here?
I think we're gonna focus more on the SOS schedule. I think it's a lot more reserved decision. You don't want to go too far and don't do good results. We really want to be sure that what we do. If we want to focus, then I think we can do a lot better.
Now, did you ever run Humberstone? Because I usually ask this a lot of guys if they run Humberstone, but unfortunately the season came to an end with those. But if you did run Humberstone, you can talk about it if you like, but I'm not sure what your plan was for that year. But
no, I haven't ran Humberstone. I think the SOS ran there a couple of times before, but we just started doing our full-time season this past season, so I only did one race in SOS before this season. So it was in Brighton. I was at Brighton 2 years ago, so we haven't went there unfortunately. But what I've heard is a nice track.
Now, what do you think about South Buxton? Everyone says they like South Buxton, but they said it's a lot different than Oswego. What's your thoughts on that?
I really love Buxton. It's such a nice track, nice facility. It's wide. It's got a lot of room to race and work on the cars. You can play around and have different lines. And I like the fact there's walls everywhere else, so it doesn't give you a lot of room for mistakes. You can't really make any mistakes. So I think that's the thing I like the most. Is you gotta be sure what you do. If you decide to run the top, you gotta be sure the car you trust your own car and you can make it work. So that's where I think that's why we had some good results there, because I really enjoyed this place a lot.
Now we're gonna go back to the Fall Brawl, but talk about where you finished at the Fall Brawl at Merrittville. Now, as I know, I was following the Darren Dryden all the way through, a few other guys, but talk about that feature that night. Like, I know the track started to slick off, but what was your thoughts inside the car of making it loose or tight coming in the corners, or just talk about how the track condition was there?
It was really slick. We tried passing cars. There's some people that could pass some cars. I was not on that side of that. I couldn't really pass any cars. We just held the bottom, and the setup adjustments we did on that car that night is not the greatest, but it's something new that we haven't tried. So it's just not something I could really base myself off of that. So track was really slick, and the top line was just really, really tricky to run. And I've had difficulties running Merrittville, so for me it's trying to learn more, get more experience at Merrittville next year, and try to do better. So.
Turn 4 at Merrittville has a lot of trickiness getting around. I ran enduros there many times, but in a sprint car, is it easy to get around turn 3 and 4 at Merrittville, or is it harder to get around turn 3 and 4?
It is really difficult, but I feel like you need to really pitch the car into the corner. You really gotta use all the wind speed you can get going to turn 3, because then if you don't, then you're just gonna slide off the racetrack. And I've actually done that the first time I went there, so you gotta use all the wind speed you can.
Well, yeah, especially going to Oswego Speedway, you guys are full throttle. Coming down to Merrittville, you guys are like half throttle maybe.
Yep.
But does that change your guys' racing speed coming from a fast track to a track that's smaller size for you guys?
I mean, when we get to turn 1, where it's really, really fast, and you can keep that momentum up going to turn 3, and you still get a lot of speed. Like it's really nice, but it's definitely different in Oswego. Because Oswego you can be flat out. So Merrittville you gotta really play it, and gotta be really smooth with the car.
Now talk about your sponsors. You must gotta thank a lot of them that helped you in the 2025 season. Who would you like to think that helped you on board?
Yeah, definitely gotta thank Maintenance Industrielle, les produits chimiques Citadel. They helped me a lot. Red Line Race Designs, 87 Speed, they help us a lot with the car and the parts. And, all these guys, they help us out a lot, and without them, we couldn't be doing this. So it's a lot of work, a lot of efforts. When you go and you do a full season, you gotta engage, and you gotta make sure that we can finish off the season strong. So.
Well, make sure you guys visit V Center for these beautiful carts that they got lined up, put up behind for an interview, and also follow Alex Bergeron for his 2026 season at Oswego and around Ontario.